Welcome, everybody, to Healthy and Wise with Melody Watts, essential oil training. I know I started a few minutes early. Everyone's used to me starting a few minutes late. So I'm excited about this because this is something that's really become a routine, and I didn't really realize it until, I talk to other people and they don't have this routine that we do at night, and they have a hard time winding down and getting their kids to bed and just having like this, I like to call it my bookend, right? So I have a way that I start my morning with essential oils, and I have a way that I end my day, and they're my bookends. And so one of the ways that I really love to wind down at night is with neroli. Neroli is also really good right now due to just the stress load that people are dealing with right now. So neroli is one of the best oils for adrenals, for hormones, for stress. It's amazing for pregnancy as well. But kids do really well on this too. So if you have kids that are just starting school and there's a little extra stress, neroli is a wonderful oil to roll over the adrenals, over the belly, over the heart to help sleep. Also magnolia. Magnolia is actually emotionally, it's the oil of compassion. So it helps people have more grace with themselves. This is great for people that are perfectionists. But magnolia bark is also proven to help people sleep. So that's a really great one. We kind of slather that one all over the chest, all over the adrenals, especially if we know it's been a stressful day. So another thing that we do is about a half hour before bed, we take the Serenity sleep capsules, and that really helps us fall asleep faster, stay asleep more soundly, and wake up more refreshed. So we do between 1 and 3, and I do give this to my 11-year-old, and I also give it to my 14-year-old. So they both get the Serenity sleep caps. And I would give it to a child as young as 6, because I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful way to relax the nervous system and the brain and the sympathetic nervous system. It's just great for sleep. Another oil that I love if kids are nervous or anxious about school, generally that's based around fear. And so juniper berry is a really great one if they're scared of the dark, or if they have irrational fears. I like to use juniper berry right on the solar plexus, which is right here. So that juniper berry really helps with that. And it goes right on that power center right there. So juniper berry, just the aroma of it, it's a little powdery, but it's a great oil also for bladder health. So if you have little kids that are, going to the bathroom a lot at night, the juniper berry is really great over the bladder. And then it's also good for the nighttime terrors and things like that. I also love the juniper berry in the diffuser. It's just a very soft scent, especially if kids don't do well with lavender. Sometimes lavender can make kids sleep too deep, and they'll actually like wet the bed. I've actually heard of that a couple times where kids sleep so deep with lavender they don't wake up to go to the bathroom. So it just like, know your child, right? Everybody's going to have a different response, and because everybody has a little bit different biochemistry and the chemistry is different. And so go with what works for you and your child. But if you notice they're sleeping too deep with lavender, then maybe try juniper berry. Also, cypress is a good one for bedwetting as well. So cypress can be used on the bladder and the bottom of the feet, along with juniper berry, and those are great oils for bladder health right before bed. So if you have kids that are drinking a lot of water right before bed, or you're potty training or whatever, those 2 oils can be really great. Another oil that will help kids stay asleep is wild orange. So I like to sometimes put that in the diffuser with a little bit of juniper berry, and that is a really great, great way to end the day. And then cedarwood is also very relaxing. The other thing about cedarwood, a lot of the oils I choose for emotional reasons, but so cedarwood not only is very relaxing and calms the mind, but it also is the oil of community. So this can help bring communities together. If your child is working on getting in a new school, new friends and things like that, cedarwood has this aroma that helps people connect. So I love to use cedarwood on the chest. I love to put it on clothes, put it in shoes, things like that. It just has a wonderful aroma. It's good for blemishes. It's good as a mosquito repellent. So cedarwood is very multifaceted, but I particularly like it this time of year for the community. So that can also be put in the diffuser. Certainly you can blend it with a few other things, but I love it just right on the chest. It's a very soft oil, so it doesn't need to be diluted. You can dilute it, it'll drive it deeper, but it's a viscous oil, so it's a little thicker, and it goes on really, really nice. So I love it. We also use it on our horse, and we also use it on our pets. So as our horse was getting to know us, we used cedar wood on him and us, so that he would just have this familiar smell every time, and just kind of built a little bit of trust with him that, oh, that's Melody and you know, his horse owner, my little girl. And so that's something that we use. So it works for kids, it works for animals. It's great for calming down pets. We love cedar wood, and it's a great insect repellent. So we'll use it for horses, for flies and things like that. Uh-oh, we got somebody that's muted and needs to mute. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is immune system. So depending on what kind of immune system threats that I feel like they've been exposed to or whatever, I like to use Arbavita and On Guard with a carrier oil along the spine and the bottom of the feet. Occasionally I'll use a little oregano on the bottom of the feet, or maybe tea tree as well. And I always use a carrier oil because it's just going to drive it in deeper, but I love it because it's that time that I get to connect with my kids. And then if there's any congestion, I might put a little on the chest with maybe some rosemary. If they're a younger child, you might look at something more like a Douglas fir, because rosemary can be very strong. But I always use a little carrier oil and just kind of massage it in. So if I was helping, you know, my son wind down for the night and he was feeling maybe congested, like sometimes my son gets a little, like a little bit of a dry tick there, what we'll do is I'll do a little rosemary, a little breathe, a little Arbavita, and then a little magnolia. So I've got my sleep, my respiratory, and my immune system. And I actually just used it on my son 2 nights ago, and immediately his cough just completely relaxed. So it was awesome. So there's just a lot of really great things that you can do if you are wanting to help your kids wind down and they have a very specific issue. Watch this video, but then also go to my playlist on YouTube, and there's all sorts of training videos on bladder health, on respiratory health, on sleep health, on anxiousness. And so what you can do is do a combination of, I'm going to do these 2 things. But generally what I'm doing is I'm looking at their core issues at the end of the day, and I'm using those oils on them, plus some oils for relaxation and sleep. And so generally I'll use 3 to 4 oils on my kids before they go to bed, and just really connect with them, bottom of the feet, along the spine, on the chest, and then we just sit and talk. And I connect with my kids every night. They always want to leave on a good note. And so we always make sure, you know, that nobody's mad at each other or anything like that. And so we always just connect at the end of the day. And it's just a great way. They're going to sleep better. They're going to do better the next day if you have that connection with them. And they really do crave that connection with their parents and that quality time. So I highly recommend that you incorporate essential oils into your nighttime routine with your kids and your teens, because it's just not only great for them, but it's also just great binding, and they just feel loved. They just feel connected with, and they just feel loved when you take that extra tender love and care to oil them up, and pretty soon it just becomes a family tradition, and it's beautiful. So thank you guys so much for joining. Remember, I do a weekly giveaway. If you comment, interact with any of my social media platforms, you comment, like, or share, or subscribe to my YouTube channel for my playlist, for my essential oil training, and you will be entered into my weekly $100 essential oil giveaway. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have an awesome week, and I hope that the stress melts away as you transition into the new fall school year. Thanks, guys.